Hello Ramen Nation, Chris Cobain here, and I am bringing you guys week 9, I believe. I always forget. I don't know. I think it's week 9. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's some week. And we're taking on, the Philadelphia Braviaires, are taking on the Orlando Magikarp and coach TheChoiceSpecs. As per usual, guys, if you have not checked out ChoiceSpec, I believe I faced him last year as well. He was a fill-in coach last season, I'm pretty sure. But he's a full-time coach. He's having a pretty decent year. He's 4-4 right now in the thick of the playoff race. If you guys haven't checked him out, make sure you do so. I'll leave links in the description as I always do. But what's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's time for the team builder. So ChoiceSpecs and the Orlando Magikarp here, they got a pretty solid team. But as you guys might see as I roll through it, while I do believe this is a very solid team on his part, you'll see maybe you guys will notice something going through it. So starting from the top, as per usual, we've got Dragonite, one of the best dragons in the game, bar none. He's just a really good mod in general. Multi-scale allows him to live almost any hit in the entire game. Obviously, weakness policy is always a thing. It's what's got him to where he is. Plus Dragon Dance, you know, you get that to work off. All of a sudden, you're +1 speed, +3 on your offenses, which is insane. You know, Outrage. Dragon Claw gets Aztecs to extreme speed. I believe it gets both Thunder and Fire Punch. I don't know if it gets Ice Punch. It gets Earthquake. It gets it all, a whole multitude of moves. And the one thing that makes it scary here, actually, is going to be Z Fly. And we'll get to that later. Mandibuzz is the next mon, one of the better defoggers in the game. Obviously, Dark Flying. It's very bulky on both sides. It's deceptively quick. It loves to run Defog, Toxic, Roost. Foul play, knockoffs. It's got all sorts of different things it can run. It can run Air Slash if it wants to. Can be leftovers or Rocky Helmet will make a phenomenal switch into some of my mods. And with Rocky Helmet, could be a very big issue. Should he start to chip things like Scizor. Aerodactyl, the non-Mega version of it. Regular Aero's got its uses. It's obviously nowhere near as good as Mega Aerodactyl is. But it's 130 base speed, which is obviously very good. I believe it's fast with my entire team. It has Stone Edge, you know, Aerial Ace, Wing Attack, as its only real flying stat, which is unfortunate. But it gets a bunch. I think it gets Thunder, Ice, and Fire Fang. It gets Earthquake. It gets Home Claws. It gets Crunch. It basically has coverage for it's essentially every single Pokemon I have, which is kind of scary combined with the fact that it's so fast. So you might see him decide to run it like Bandit or something like that, or he could just be a Home Claw set. We'll have to see. Mismagius, one of my favorites. I ran Mismagius for a very long time back in X and Y. Obviously just Ghost, 105 base speed, 105 base special defense, 105 base special attack, and I think everything else is base 60. It's a weird mon. But it's got a lot of coverage, a ton of coverage. It gets Shadow Ball, let's see, Psybeam, or Psychic, I should say. That was just, I was thinking Fantina from Platinum, excuse me. Psychic, it gets Power Gem, it gets Mystical Fire now, I think it gets Thunderbolt, it gets Energy Ball. It's actually pretty crazy. It's fairly bulky on the special side, as I said, 105 special defense. It gets Pain Split and Will-O-Wisp and all that fun stuff, so it could be a very offensive set, it could be a very defensive set. Both can provide issues to my team. We'll have to see what he decides to do. A regular Sceptile, 120 base speed, it gets Unburden. It's terrifying if that happens. The thing about it is it's pretty walled by Scizor unless it runs Hidden Power Fire. Of course, that's very likely. We see Hidden Power Fire every single week. But it does get Leaf Storm, obviously, which is very strong. It does get Dragon Pulse. It gets Focus Blast. It gets a multitude of stuff that can be very difficult. A Life Orb set with both Leaf Storm and Hidden Power Fire could be very threatening to us. Pyroar. Pyroar's a good mon. Pyroar's a good mon. It's one of his weaker mons, I'd say, but it's definitely a good mon. It's probably the one thing on his entire team I would say doesn't come 100%, but we will see what happens. I always forget its base speed. It's like in the mid 100s. It's like 105 or 109 or 108 or something. It's close to one of those, okay? Leave me alone. Its coverage is lacking. Obviously, fire attacks, whatever it wants to run, Flamethrower, Fire Blast, Hurt Scizor, Hyper Voice, Dark Pulse. That's pretty much it. It can run a Hidden Power on top of that, maybe Ice. But we will see. I don't really expect him, though. He's slower than Doug. He's trap fodder. Mega Slowbro. Very, very stupid, bulky mon to combine with Mandibuzz. It's a pretty terrifying thing aside from the fact that they're both weak to electric, but what are you going to do? Loser's Regenerator, he can still make use of it. If he decides not to Mega, you are allowed to pivot around Megas without actually Megaing them as long as you don't stay in, so he could make use of Regenerator that way. But once it Megas, obviously it gets that Shell Armor, I think it is. The one that you can't get crit on. I know you can't get crit. I always forget. I think it's Shell Armor. I'm pretty sure it's Shell Armor. But he's a very good Calm Mind Sweeper. He gets Slack Off. Scald and Psyshock is very common. Ice Beam's common. He could run Fire Blast, I believe. I know Slowking gets it. I'm pretty sure Slowbro would too. So pretty good coverage on that point. He also gets Thunder Wave, which would be very problematic. But he is Thunderous fodder, so we'll see. Scolipede. Now, Baton Pass Claws is a thing here. He's not able to run Swords Dance and Baton Pass at the same... Or, I mean, I guess he can, but then he can't Baton Pass once he Swords Dance. But either way, Scolipede is a pretty terrifying mon at base value. Speed Boost is very strong. 112 base speed's a lot. It's got a lot of attack. It's got a lot of coverage. Mega Horn, Poison Jab, Earthquake, Rock Slide, what have you. It can run Protect to get the speed boost going if it wants to as well. But the one thing with him is that he doesn't fight Scizor at all. Like, Scizor just eats him alive. So... Snorlax, very, very bulky special wall, obviously. Loves to be a Rest Talk set. It can be Assault Vest. It can be Choice Band. It does have the coverage for it. It's definitely a terrifying mon if it sets up right. The Curse set could be a very big problem. We do have Cough Egregious, which is Curse Lax's hugest problem is Ghost in general, let alone one as bulky as Cough Egregious. He very well could bring this. I don't know what he would run if he brought it. He had a lot of options. I would kind of guess Assault Vest if he wanted to bring it with like Fire Punch, Body Slam, Crunch, and whatever else he decides to run. Or not Body Slam, excuse me. He'd run Return or something like that. Obviously, he gets Belly Drum as well. But we'll see what happens if he brings it. Gardevoir, another mon I don't really expect. It very well could come. I'll explain why in just a minute. But... I don't expect it very much. It is obviously Scizor fodder. Now we have seen both Florges and Sylveon already. They both run Braviaires, so maybe, or Babiri, whatever it's called. So Gardevoir might run that, but it would have to run Hidden Power Fire too. It's all very convoluted. But it's 80 base speed. It's a decent mon. Decent special attack, no Pixelate, so it's got to run Moonblast, Psyshock, obviously. It gets Focus Blast, it gets Thunderbolt, I think. There's good coverage on it in places. It could be a problem in some ways if it runs Hidden Power Fire. It could be Scarf, Specs. It does get Trick, which can be annoying. It does get Will-O-Wisp, actually, which is kind of weird. So we'll see. And then the last mon this week. Now, I've said this a couple of times about... typically the last mon on the list. It's typically the one right before the S tier, which is in this case is Pyroar, and the last one on the list are typically the ones you look at that go, because they're kind of on the low ladder. They're like the last 2 draft picks typically. But I've said a few times that the last Pokemon on the list is something that could be a problem. This is the first time I believe that I would be absolutely 100% surprised if this bond doesn't come with Magneton. Now, the reason for this, in case you guys don't know, is Magneton gets Magnet Pull, which will trap Steel types. Now, I've been utilizing trapping this entire season with Doug Trio, but 2 of my core Pokemon, 2 of my main ones, like I have like a 4 or 5 Pokemon core. It's Thundurus, Zygarde, Doug Trio, and then Scizor and Empoleon are the 2 that really fill out the team a lot of the time. They're both trapped and destroyed by Magneton, which is kind of unfortunate. Empoleon more so, obviously it's weak to electric, which is super bad, and it cannot be faster than Magneton. The saving grace with Scizor is that Scizor is actually faster than Magneton barely. It's 75 base speed versus 70 base speed, so I am a little bit faster, but he can very easily run Scarf. So Magneton's a very threatening mon in this game. Now obviously he is Scizor fodder, so he can run not Scizor fodder, Chris, you idiot. He's Doug Trio fodder, but of course he can run Shed Shell, but if he does, then he's not Scarf. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But it's definitely one I expect. I'd be very, very surprised if Magneton doesn't come. He's one of the things I expect more so than anything else. So without further ado, ladies and gents, let's go ahead and jump into the team this week. Starting off with my boy Slick this week. Scizor running again. Now we actually had a little bit of a discussion about whether or not we even wanted to bring Scizor this week because of certain things, namely things like Fire Punch, Snorlax, like Magneton, like Sceptile with Hidden Power Fire, like Dragonite with Fire Punch, can very much do work against Scizor this week. But he does serve a purpose. I think he'll be very good. We are running Jolly, Swarm. Obviously, we'll jump into Technician, Scissorite this week. With Bullet Punch, Defog, Roost, and U-Turn, he's running 252 HP, 36 special defense, and that leaves 220 into his speed, along with that Jolly Nature, will ensure that he adds faster than max speed Magneton. Now, again, if Magneton's Scarfed, he is faster than me, obviously, and that's kind of problematic. Until we're sure what item it is, and until I'm 100% sure it's not Scarfed, or if I think it's Eviolite, if it's taking hits really well and I know it's Eviolite, I will not be staying with Scizor. I'll pretty much be U-turning on essentially every single Pokemon he's got. Now, if he is Scarfed and he double plays me, he predicts and gets in, then that could be a problem. That's why Magneton can be very scary. We do, thankfully, with the Max Bulk, live a single Scarf, Hidden Power Fire. But even then, it's very terrifying. It'll do enough damage to where we're actually fodder to Life Orb, Earthquake, Scolipede, so that could be very, very terrifying. We'll have to play smart. Scizor's somewhat of a liability this week. We have to play smart with him, but he should be able to put in some work. Obviously, Bullet Punch will do work against things like Sceptile. When it's a little low, it'll almost one-tap Aerodactyl, easily two-tap. It'll hurt Gardevoir a lot, and then a U-turns for general. Just making sure we don't get trapped, more or less. Coming in second this week, we are going to be running, where's it at? We are going to be running Thundurus. That means we are skipping out on Zygarde this week. Zygarde, we didn't feel made a ton of sense, mostly because of Slowbro. He's never really going to break through Slowbro no matter what we do. Not to mention the fact that Dragonite's terrifying. We are faster than it, but it would, it gets multi-scale and it's going to Dragon Dance and all that fun stuff. And Gardevoir Scarfed could be a problem, and Scolipede could be an issue, and so we just decided to go away from it. But of course, we will never, bless you, we will never stop running Thundurus. Raigeki, my boy. Now this set's really kind of base. It's kind of as easy as it gets, but this is what I was talking about when I said maybe you guys will notice something through his team. He's very, 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 very weak to Raigeki here. Now, if in a certain situation, namely Stealth Rocks plus Agility, I win. Essentially, I believe if we get Agility off and there's rocks on the field, the only mons in the game that can do anything to us are Magius and Gardevoir. Everything else dies. Now, of course, what's faster than me? I'm thinking what's faster than me, but I'm Agility. Yeah, everything else just loses. Everything else just dies in one shot. Hidden Power Ice to Dragonite, Thunderbolt, Manabuzz, Aerodactyl, Thunderbolt, Hidden Power Ice to Sceptile, Focus Blast, or whatever, depending on how much health he's have on Pyroar. Thunderbolt Slowbro, Thunderbolt Scolipede will do enough. Snorlax takes Z Hidden Power, or Z Focus Blast. Gardevoir is the one that can take one, and Magneton obviously can't live a Focus Blast or a Z if he's Eviolite. It's easy. It's easy as 1, 2, 3, chat. But we'll see how it goes. Thundurus, I don't know if he can work around it. We'll see. Specs is a good battler. Like I said, he's had a pretty good season so far. He's proven that he's a pretty good battler. So he might find a way to work around it, but it'll be rough. It's going to be rough on him to work around this for sure. But anyway, we are modest because we don't need to be faster than anything really. There's nothing in the mid-80s to 90 speed tier on his entire team. Everything's either faster than him or it's Dragonite and Gardevoir base 80, so we can afford to run that modest. Thunderbolt, Hidden Power Ice, obviously. Agility, Focus Blast, as I already explained. It is running 252 special attack, 60 special defense, and 196 speed, along with that modest nature will allow us to outspeed both Dragonite and Gardevoir. Of course, Dragonite gets E-Speed, does do about 70-ish% with Bandit E-Speed. You have to keep a lookout for that. Coming in next this week, we've mentioned a few times in the team builder, it's going to be Doug Trio this week. He took a week off last week, but definitely cannot afford to leave him off the team this week. He had to show up. He is Scizor's support. We are running Jolly, Arena Truff, obviously, in Focus Sash this week, running Earthquake, Stealth Rocks, Toxic, and Rock Slide, running 60 HP, 252 attack, and 196 speed, which will allow us to outspeed a max speed Scolipede. Now, of course, speed boost is there. He probably doesn't protect. There's very few situations we could actually get in and just be faster than Scolipede. But we do have the Sash just for him, pretty much, so we can take a Mega Horn Rock Slide. We'll do a massive amount back. And we'll see how that goes. Earthquake is for general power. Obviously, nothing crazy with that. It hits Magneton, hits Pyroar if he decides to bring it, whatever. Rock Slide hits Dragonite, Mana Buzz, Aerodactyl, as I already said, and it's Scolipede as well. Toxic is namely for Mana Buzz, more so than anything else. It also can be used on Slowbro and Snorlax, but Snorlax will probably rest. And then, of course, Stealth Rocks is just something we really need. His team's pretty weak to Rock. And Rocks plus Agility, as I said earlier, on Thundurus will pretty much guarantee the win. Fourth Mon this week is going to be the girl. Oh, he forgot to nickname this. Weird. It's supposed to be Melody. That's okay. He even asked if Primarine's nickname was Melody. That's weird. He forgot to nickname it. No big deal. Primarina's running a pretty cool set this week. We really have not been able to run Specs Primarina this season, man. I've wanted to run it all year, but really loud, broken car outside. But this defensive set has been so freaking necessary for us this year, and it's necessary yet again. Primarina is running Bold, Torrent, obviously, with the leftovers. It is running Moonblast, Protect, Parasong, and Scald, along with a literally max defensive spread of 252 HP, 252 defense, and 4 into the special defense. The moveset's pretty fun. I like this moveset a lot. We actually toyed around with running Protect, Parasong, and Whirlpool, but we needed Scald, unfortunately. Scald had to be a thing so that we could do damage, enough damage to Scolipede, which Scald, even at this set, does a solid, like 50-ish%. It's a 2-tap and can burn. It hits Magneton fairly hard as well. And obviously, it just does general power. It's general power. Moonblast is for Dragonite. It's for Aerodactyl. It's for a lot of stuff. Slowbro as well. Protect is for Z-Fly. That is 100% why it's on the set this week. If I switch it on Dragonite as it Dragon Dances, a +1 Z-Fly will absolutely, Jolly or Adamant, will one-tap Primarina with ease. Now, Protect doesn't fully stop Z moves because they're broken, but it only does 25% of the normal damage, and that does about a little under 30. It's like 27-ish. So, of course, if he does run Z-Fly, he can't fly on us because we can protect the regular fly all day. We can take +1 Thunder Punch pretty easily. So, basically, we come in, scout the Z move, the Protect, move on from there, see what happens. Hit him up with a Moonblast. Parasong's a pretty cool move. It's for multiple stuff in this match. We can use it to force switches, somewhat. It can be used for Snorlax, it can be used for Slowbro, like a Calm Minding Slowbro. We can Parasong and he can't stay in. Of course, we can switch out. It can do the same thing to Snorlax as well. That's pretty much why it's there for those two. It has other uses as well. It could be used on like Gardevoir, or we could just use it on a switch, and whatever comes in just can't stick around too long. It could give us free switch-ins. We know when he has to switch. And it could give us easy pivots, or easy doubles into like counters and stuff. We'll see how it goes. I did want to run Whirlpool. We really wanted to run Protect, Perish, Whirlpool, and just hit like Slowbro with it, and just Parasong him in. That would have been such a cool strategy, but unfortunately we're not able to do it because we need Skull. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. Coming in 5th this week, we are running Majora. His second week of the season, his second match of this year. Of course, the first time we ran that awesome Trick Room Z Shadow Ball Nasty Plot set that was able to finish off the game a couple of weeks back. But, excuse me. But he is making his comeback this week, his second of the year. He's going to be a pretty good set this week, and he's going to be pretty pivotal for us as well. He's running Bold, obviously with Mummy and Leftovers, Shadow Ball, Will-O-Wisp, Haze, and Pain Split. And he'll be running 252 HP, 252 special defense, and 4 defense, along with the Bold nature that'll make him bulky on both sides. This thing is, first and foremost, it is a Snorlax switch-in. A Curse Lax can't do anything to us. Now, we can't do anything back, really, but we can Will-O-Wisp him, we can Pain Split on his rest, and we can Haze away any Curse. Bam. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. It pretty much eats him alive. It does a lot of working at Slowbro as well. We can Haze away Calm Minds. We can Will-O-Wisp and Shadow Ball him as well, but hit very hard. If he slacks off, we can Pain Split. Super duper easy. And namely, it actually is our answer to Sceptile. It can easily eat up Life Orb Not easily, but it can eat up a Life Orb Leaf Storm. Sceptile can't do anything after it's -2, and then we Pain Split up on whatever he switches into. Remember, Call for Egregious's base HP is actually pretty low compared to his defenses anyway. What is his base HP? It's actually 58, right, which is pretty low with his 145 defense and 105 special defense. So definitely low, which makes Pain Split all that much better. It'll pretty much fully heal against Mandibuzz, Slowbro, Snorlax pretty easily, and pretty much everything will give him pretty good healing along with the leftovers. Very, very pivotal this week to have Haze because of Snorlax and mostly because of Slowbro, but this thing can put in a lot of work. This week I'm very excited to bring him. And now it's time. Our 6th Mon this week is a debut. We have not been able to run him this year. There are 2 Mons on the team we haven't debuted, so you got a 50-50 shot of guessing which. But we felt like that this guy had a lot of viability this week. And to be honest, he should put in the finest of work. The debuting Mon making his official debut 9 weeks into the season is my boy Bloodwing, my second favorite nickname on the team behind Raigeki. Bloodwing, my man, the Swellow. This is going to be such a fun set to run. So we're running Timid, Scrappy, ChoiceSpec. Scrappy obviously for Mismagius, just like X-Bloud last season. Screw your ghosts. So he's out, like I said, Timid, Scrappy, ChoiceSpecs. He is running, or she is running, I should say, 252 special attack, 36 special defense, which leaves 220 for the speed, which will allow it to outspeed max speed Sceptile. Now, of course, Sceptile on her unburdenably faster than us. We'll have to leave that where it is. Boom Burst pretty much just rolls through the team pretty easily. I don't believe Dragonite can take 2. If it switches in and multi-scale, I don't think it can take another one. Mandibuzz can take 2, okay. Arrow can actually take, can he take 2? I don't know, I have to calc. He doesn't take it very well. Those Magius would have to be really specially defensive. Sceptile can't take Monkey Crab. Power can't take Monkey Crab. Slowbro would have to be insanely specially defensive, which he probably will because we have Thundurus. We'll see. Scolipede doesn't want to switch in. Snorlax can take it decently well, as can Magneton. Gardevoir can take it if it's Salt Vested. We're running U-Turn for general momentum. We are faster than his entire team, assuming no... Well, except for Aerodactyl and potential Scarfers. Heat Wave is namely for Magneton. It also hits Sceptile very hard, though it'd have to be like max health for me to do that because Boom Burst hits it that hard anyway. And then Toxic is for the bulky stuff if I predict him to switch in to Snorlax or more likely Mandibuzz, or if we know Slowbro is really specially defensive, we just Toxic on the switch in. Then we're obviously forced out after that, but it'll work. So Swellow, I see Swellow put in a ton of work with the combination of momentuming out with U-Turn and just hitting everything really hard with Boom Burst. Even Snorlax doesn't really want to take the hits, especially considering I just switch into Call for Egregious and he can't really do much. The momentum will really help. Heat Wave will really help for Magneton. Of course, we have to look out if it's Choice Scarf because... is it faster? Oh, I have to look. Is it faster? I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is. I'll have to look. I'll have to look into it. It might not be. Well, I'll look into it. You can tell me in the comments if you know, but it won't. I don't care. We'll figure it out. I'm pretty sure it's faster, though. But he should be able to put in a ton of work, hit everything really hard, and maybe get a bunch of kills. Magmortar's debut was a little lackluster because of the RNG thing. Call for Egregious was glorious. Maybe Bloodwing can be that. Maybe Bloodwing come in and just Boom Burst and kill like 5 things. You know, I don't really expect it because this team just struggles with Thundurus so much. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Thank you guys for watching the Team Builder today. I appreciate it as per usual. If you guys liked the video, make sure to do me a favor, drop a like down below, subscribe to my YouTube if you haven't done so yet, leave a comment about my team, about my opponent's team, about whether or not Magneton's faster than Swellow, if it's Scarfed, whatever you want to say, I don't really care. I'll respond to you probably. As per usual, guys, the battle will come out tomorrow, Saturday, April 22nd. So, I say that every week. I don't really need to. So make sure you guys are ready for that as the Philadelphia Braviaires at a solid, I believe we're 6-1, go up against the 4-4 Orlando Magikarps and the ChoiceSpec. I will see you guys in week 9, alright? Peace, Ramen Nation. See you.